in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. John Cullen free soloing this game here for you this morning at the HearingLife Tour Challenge. Should be an absolutely fantastic game. We're on the C road here. It's very simple this morning. Win and you're in, lose and you're out. And I shouldn't even say in, you're just into the C final. The road is not complete for you, but it should be a fantastic game between two teams that international curling fans will be very, very familiar with. John Shuster and Joel Retornaz. Another great crowd here in Charlottetown. They don't care that it's 8:30 a.m. on a Friday, and neither do I. We get a good look at the teams just having completed their practice there, and we will meet the teams here in just a moment as we get ready for this big Friday morning tilt. Team Retornaz from Cembra, Italy. The skip is Joel Retornaz. Third is Amos Mozaner. Second is Sebastiano Armand. And lead is Mattia Giovanella. And you will see Mattia hold the broom for Joel when he is throwing. And on the other side of the sheet, it is Team John Shuster from Duluth, Minnesota. John Shuster, of course, the 2018 Olympic gold medalist. Third is Chris Plies. Second is Colin Huffman, and on the graphic we have the lead is John Landsteiner, but he is sitting this weekend, and a name that'll be very familiar to curling fans, Matt Hamilton, will be throwing lead stones all weekend long for the Americans, who are wearing their finest brown and tan jackets on this Friday morning.
Yeah, oh fair, yeah, I'm old, I know.
John Shuster is old. He's older than me, so that's how you know that that is true. So for those of you who have been following along with the Tour Challenge, we do have our first qualifiers through to the playoffs. Yesterday it was Bruce Mowat defeating Nicholas Adine and Brad Jacobs defeating Matt Dunstone to secure the first two playoff spots. The remaining 6 will all be decided today. And like I said, for these two teams, this is no guarantee. This is just to keep yourself alive and to get into the C final. The loser of this game will go home. The winner of this game will move on to face the loser of the B final this afternoon between Yannick Schwaller and Matt Dunstone. And it'll be Matt Hamilton getting things underway for John Shuster. Joel Retornaz winning the pregame draw to the button.
Line's definitely getting here, so 15 flat, boys. Look at that, no sweeping required, babe. All natural, baby. Start, Hammy.
So nice center guard up for Matt Hamilton, and it looks as though Team Retornaz, a willing dance partner in this first end, they're going to throw up a corner guard here. We've talked about it on just about every stream, but the team's quite comfortable with the ice now and not afraid to mix it up in the first end. It's all teams fighting for their life out here this morning. We've got Rebecca Morrison playing off against Silvana Tiranzoni, maybe a team we did not expect to see on the C side of the draw, given that they're the world number 2 for the women, and maybe another team we were not expecting to see on the C road, Brad Gujou facing off against Cameron Bryce this morning in a C semifinal. And then the sheet directly in front of me here in the broadcast booth, it's Satsuki Fujisawa and Chelsea Carey in a women's C semifinal game. So only 2 teams have been eliminated on each side of the draw, but they're going to start dropping like flies today, as in golf they often call Friday moving day, and I think it's Saturday actually, but here in curling, Friday is moving day. So corner guard up, draw around for Matt Hamilton, Mattia Giovanella. We had Joel Retornaz on the stream yesterday morning, and we weren't keeping official stats up here, but Tyler George and I agreed that Mattia probably threw a 100 in that game yesterday morning that Retornaz lost to Ross White. White will be in a B final later today against Kevin Cooey. Nicholas Sedin facing off against Mike McEwen in one of those B finals, and Matt Dunstone against Yannick Schwaller, as I said earlier.
Line's good. It's curl though. It's here. Can't bounce on this line. Yes,
So our first look at Colin Huffman here.
Yep. Trying to loosen it a little bit if we can. Hard. Very good.
The Alaska native makes the freeze. As you might imagine, Alaska does have a curling program, and I remember when I was coming up in juniors, quite a few teams were coming from Alaska at that time. I think it's a little less now, but it was at one time a bit of a hotbed for USA curling. There was a whole group of Alaskans that kind of came up at the same time as Colin. Colin was sort of the one that emerged, and this John Shuster team has been using that 5-man rotation pretty consistently over the last few years. Obligations have changed for the team, and always when kids enter the picture, and Matt Hamilton's missed some tournaments for media obligations, and it's getting harder and harder to just keep a strict 4-man team with the amount that curling teams have to play now. A nice shot from Sebastiano, and the rocks are starting to pile up in the middle of the sheet here. I believe Colin Huffman just trying to follow him down.
Lot of room. Take a look.
Just do it.
Good.
Tiny butt.
Oh, that's fine. Yep.
And that's pretty good from Colin Huffman. Maybe a smidge heavier than they would have liked. I think the angles right now slightly favoring the Italians. I don't know too much Italian, but I do have a pretty good sense that quattro is 4. So 4 would be just the top of the house, so just calling a freeze. Basically saying to Sebastiano, I don't want you to move this at all, but they might be changing the call here. So it looked like they were looking at the potential run back there, but that seemed like it was a call coming more from the hack and not the house. Joel Retornaz preferring the draw.
Linea buona. 4. Linea buona. Buona questa. 4. Linea buona.
Sweepers like the weight, but they haven't really touched it much yet. Mattia Giovanella trying to bring it over now. This looks like it might be a little heavy. And indeed it will bounce off. I don't know that that's too bad.
It's probably this. It's gonna clip this and probably lose our back one is the only issue, but I think you lose both yellows if you throw it hard.
Okay.
This one might not lose though.
Yeah, it's starting to look a little dicey.
Yeah, I still like this, Chris.
Okay.
Then a third is probably right to stick it.
The one nice part for me this morning about having no color commentator with me is that John Shuster often acts as a color commentator, loves to talk through all of the options, either to his team or just to himself. So him and I will have a bit of a running conversation this game, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So you heard Chris Plies say, getting a little dicey in the house now, so he's trying to
Right to it, Colin.
slam
Right
this.
to it, right to
They're
it.
worried. They're not worried. They're going to lose their back red, but had to improve the situation there a little bit, and they did, but it is Retornaz lying one. Take another look at that. As I said, the angles were kind of always favoring Team Retornaz there. And I think now they're just playing this gently, trying to cross the face of this red one. You got to get by the center guard though, and not only do they not get by, that hit quite a big chunk of it. So Amos maybe a little tight out of the hand there, and that's a bit of a big miss this early on, because Retornaz was looking set up really well for a potential multiple score, and now this is a bit of an escape valve here for the Americans if Chris Plies can make this double.
I still like Peel, Chris. Okay. Shade high.
Chris Plies, a member of the John Shuster team that lost the Olympic bronze medal game to Brad Gujou a couple of years ago.
That's fine.
And that will hit it right on the beak, and you heard Chris not thrilled with that result. So Retornaz continues to lie one. That is a pretty routine double, so no question Chris would be upset about that, especially when you consider that that was a chance to get themselves out of trouble. Chris Plies, though, a world junior champion back in 2008, along with Matt Hamilton. Beat a guy by the name of Oscar Eriksson in that world junior final. You might have heard of him before. And I don't think that's what Team Retornaz was seeking either, as Amos gets rid of one red, but moves their yellow into the open and spills the shooter out of the house. So it was a fairly easy escape last stone. This one is even easier. You can see there that yellow wide open for John Shuster, and we have seen this all week long. You know, Joel Retornaz ranked number 2 in the world, but have not been as sharp as we're used to seeing them. Last year, there were times where it seemed like they couldn't lose, winning a couple slams last fall, and they just haven't seemed their usual sharp selves here this week. So it's our first look at John Shuster with an open hit to lie 3. Colin Huffman on this right out of the hand, though. Really trying to hold it here. You got to get by that top red. Really good sweep from Colin Huffman, and John Shuster lies 3 without hammer.
What did it get down to? Oh, okay. I gave that a pretty good step forward, so. That's just good enough. 11, but yeah.
Doppia non mi dispiace, però non è che la tripla, se non ha event e non ne va a prendere 3, magari ne mette chi se ne un po' contro due. Noi bolsanti sì, se però non la vende, il vende 3.
So there's not a ton of great options for Joel here to score 2 without getting really aggressive. You could draw around the pile. It'd be a fairly short run back for John. It looked like they were maybe gesturing about freezing on that outside one in the 8-foot, but again, you don't make that perfect, and you could be in trouble, especially if it ever over curls. John comes around everything, and you're maybe giving up a steal. So
Piana doppia. E dopo il vende dreno. Ma quello è un problemissimo. Se fa la doppia non mi dispiace. Se almeno fa la doppia e anche se il vende 3, se proprio il tiro brutto, boccio quella lì che ne lascio 1. Se fa la doppia, l'importante è fare la doppia. In teoria Rolandi, se io Rolandi dentro per la doppia.
So Joel's original inclination was to play this double. You're obviously most likely never scoring 2 if you play this, but it makes it so that there's not really a steal opportunity. for Team Shuster. And then it seemed like he maybe changed his mind and was going to try to draw around the red pile, but I just think the slash or the straight run double for John, both pretty easy if you do that. So you heard the call from the hack, Amos and Sebastiano favoring the double, and so Joel agreed, and that's what they're playing.
Yep. Halt.
And they will not get rid of both red stones, but that's not a bad result. You get both of them off the front of the house. Whatever you're playing for Joel on your last one, you're playing it against 3, but at least you're not, again, not really in danger of giving up a steal here. A steal would only come off of you missing a relatively simple shot.
Same line we threw our draws on, so I assume it's going to be good speed. Even with, which I was getting, those ones we were getting into the top 8 foot were 14.5s. So, yeah. It's got to be in the house somewhere, but if we can get this thing half 4 foot, his life is a little tricky. Bite the 4 foot.
So you heard John say they want to bite the 4 foot here and give Joel something to think about. Want to make it so that a hit would not give him shot stone.
Where?
A hit on this rock that they're throwing, I should say.
Go then.
So you want to just bite the 4 foot here. Huffman and Hamilton trying to guide it there now. This looks pretty good. Don't want to go too deep though.
Good. Perfect.
And that's exactly perfect. So this will require a hit and roll over for Joel Retornaz.
What'd you get out there? Jesus. And your guys were going in there like, that was 15 as well. It wasn't like.
That's where they got theirs too on this side though.
Was it 15? All the ones that we do this way.
So here John and Chris just talking about the draw weight. 15 would be as quick as we've seen it. Early in the week, it was about 14 to the line as the ice was starting to settle in. So final stone, Joel Retornaz needs a hit and a slight roll inside facing 3. Sebastiano on this out of the hand. This can't roll too far. This can't roll too far. This can't roll too far. And it will unfortunately go all the way across the 4 foot. And so another end where Joel Retornaz just didn't look quite right. And John Shuster will steal one.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
And is the choice of champions.
So with the hammer in that first end, Joel Retornaz never really getting the car started. Had a few chances to apply some pressure to John Shuster, but missed all of them. And then Joel missing his last to give up a steal of 1. So John Shuster will probably feel pretty good about that. There were definitely some points in that end where it looked like Joel was set up for a multiple score. A nice shot there from Matt Hamilton, just touching that center line. As most of you probably know, these tournaments now being played with a no-tick zone. If the guards are touching the center line during the first 5 rocks as part of the free guard zone and free guard rule, you cannot move the rock off of the center line. If you do, then the opposition team has the option of keeping it as it is. Maybe it works as a good guard, or they can remove your thrown stone and replace the guard. So similar start to last end, guard up for Matt Hamilton and for Mattia Giovanella. And Matt will try to come around his center guard here.
A little bit of room. There is room though.
5, 6. Weight's good. 6, 7.
It's gonna get here, I think. I don't think we have to curl much.
Weight's good.
Straight.
Stay
Yep,
close.
straight. Straight. Hard.
Sorry, Matty.
That really kind of died at the end. They think they thought the weight was pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, even the hog, like it didn't slow down between the hogs. And that was
You could see Colin trying to look at the ice, thinking maybe it picked.
It was watched the whole way. So.
Giù, Rama. Giù, Desnar. Continua. Sempre giù. Ancora, Rama.
Prima Rama che arriva.
Ancora, Rama.
Okay.
Draw around the corner and maybe just a hair heavy from Mattia there.
14-23.
I got a third.
11.
Yeah.
Wrong color.
Fil dall'alto in caso. Adesso da mai qui, adesso sempre mai confondere.
So with it going a little bit deep, you can see that John Shuster can see enough of this to have Colin Huffman chase it.
Hard.
Chris Ply's on this right out of the hand, though. I think this is on the guard.
Whoa. Didn't enough to actually not hurt us. So that's fine. That's fine. The light.
So it does hit the guard, but it doesn't remove it. So this is within the 5 rock rule, of course, but the rule is only that you can't remove the guard from play, and they don't do that. They chip it over to center. So a miss from Colin, but you heard John say they don't mind that. Opens up that Retornaz stone.
2.5 second heavy. As much blue as that looks like it's gonna get. Oh, that was the conversation. Oh, that was exactly the conversation.
2 terzi.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll just chill him out.
Yeah.
Out. Out. Giù, 2 terzi 9.
Giù.
So Joel, I think, is going to try and get this Yellowstone onto the rings, but they just didn't quite get the right angle. Does put the corner guard back up, although I do think their yellow is open. Yeah, you can see from that angle there. Yellow wide open in the house. I think the plan was to roll the yellow that is in the center onto the rings, but they just didn't quite get the angle right. It over-curled on them. So another chance to chase here for Colin Huffman. This one's certainly easier than the last.
Little solid.
Gotta go, Matty. Come on, Matty. Hard, Matty.
Again, Matt Hamilton on this right out of the hand.
All the way to it, so we're not rolling under this corner here. Hard.
And you heard John say they didn't really want to roll under this corner because now that gives the freeze option to Joel. You can freeze buried, and you can see from that camera angle there, that is fully buried. If you freeze on this, you may not get shot, but you're probably not super concerned about that yet. If you're Joel, we're still in second stones.
Linea buona. Linea buona. Linea molto buona. Linea. Linea.
That's really good from Sebastiano.
That's shot.
Right on the corner. Red is shot, but perfect freeze.
Worst shot right now. I don't know if that matters. Probably still here, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with John. I don't think it matters either. This situation around the corner guard, too dangerous to ignore. Chris Ply's being asked to follow the Armand Stone down.
Should have lots of room. Well, that's okay, though. Probably curl, though. Curl for sure.
This is definitely a slightly different track than Sebastiano's.
Rather be at least, yep. Nice, go. Yes!
That's really good weight from Chris Ply's, but just never finishes in the same way that Sebastiano's did. And now for Joel Retornaz, this end is
Where did they have the room for theirs?
starting to turn in their
Where did they
favor.
have the room for theirs?
Good sweep from Mattia, but unfortunately for Amos Mozaner, that will roll out of the rings. And again, it's just that lack of sharpness from Team Retornaz that we have been seeing. It was the same thing yesterday against Ross White. They had their opportunities, but just really were not able to execute and take them. And that's another example there. You have to think, giving Chris Ply's the same shot twice in a row, he's not going to miss it this time.
Curl if you have to.
Closer line, yep, straight. Hard! Hard, gotta go, Matt.
Can't over curl this.
Hard!
You over curl and you leave that Retornaz Stone shot, so you want to be right on it, and there you go. As I said, didn't think Chris Ply's would miss that twice in a row. That is beautifully placed right on the corner, and it's John Shuster once again lying two without hammer. And I think for Joel, the freeze is not a terribly good option because it would likely be exposed in front of the corner guard, and it might give John Shuster an option to get rid of the shot stone. And so you can see they're just going to run the yellow one in here. Oh no, sorry, just drawing around everything, I think. Oh, looked like that maybe picked in Amos's hand. So they're just going to, you don't often see this. The team without the hammer draws around the corner guard, and then the team with the hammer draws around the center guard. But just was not really a great situation for Joel around that corner guard with that freeze from Chris.
No, you're in the house, on your territory. I think it's just freeze, eh? I think so. It's in the ice. I've tried to clean it up twice.
And that's pretty wide open, but you hear John say he just wants to freeze. So you get a look. Sorry, it's not that open. It's about half open. If you're John, you could maybe come down and play a hit on it, a lightweight hit. The issue if you do that is then you roll into the open. Joel makes the hit and roll behind the guard, and you might be giving up two. So
I would expect 14 to get there. Pretty much the same. Chris has just ran 14 hot dogs, so like 05. Okay. Line gets good, we can tap it. So.
Important stone here for John Shuster. You got to be close.
Where?
Close the line.
Line's good. Line's good. Yep. Whoa.
Close.
Yep.
Sweepers think it's close here.
Gotta go, Colin.
Keep going. Keep going.
Got to get by that top one now. Can you get there for shot?
Good.
Yes, you can. Really good from John Shuster. Perfect weight. Well managed by Huffman and Hamilton.
Would you have hot dog there, or did you not take it?
And John Shuster lies one.
Yeah. I was guessing it was going to be a 14-0 if we watched it the whole way for those guys after a 13-8.
Yeah. Which is exactly what yours was, so I think we had a really good
Qualcosa in teoria o con la gialla o con la rossa o con quella lì qualcosa dovresti avere. 6.
Get a tiny bit scary.
Yeah, if he makes this.
Freeze lì, non è che
Freeze, we could just throw a draw on this out to the side and try to go back button.
Yeah.
Or try to go side button with it.
tipo come l'LSD, dico
As long as we get it into full 4 foot.
Yeah. Most they can get is 2.
Right. And even that, if I can get it, make it perfect, it might be a guaranteed score. I mean, I could try to tap this one up here too, but again, it's tough. You ever just click the guard, it's a give me 3 instead of him having to play it enough, right? Like,
Yeah.
First stone here for Joel Retornaz in the second end. Just trying to follow this John Shuster stone down.
Basta, giù, giù, giù. Larga linea. 14-6. Giù, sempre giù. Sempre giù. Ancora giù che arriva. Ancora giù che arriva.
Trying to get on the corner there, and that's really nice from Joel. Lines up the angle really well. John Shuster obviously still line one.
no, perché mi vedo mezza, quindi o me metto la guardia o me lascia
And on this ice, it's probably tougher than usual. I mean, I could come off that one too.
La linea era buona,
Like this, the other option. We could, it's just, messing with it's tricky.
I don't like that. I like this
I don't
way.
hate it.
I like this way more.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think this is actually easier than you think it is.
Yeah,
It's half rock.
if you go over the top and you ping this.
Yeah, I'm not that scared, to be honest. I mean, if we hit what we can see, it's too much, right?
No, for sure.
I like this, Chris.
No,
Because I don't think, I mean, there's even a chance I can clip this and now they're steal a 2-3 is in play. I like this. I think we throw it with 9-5.
So Chris Plies was favoring the in-off potentially off of that red out in the wings on the left of your screen as you're looking at it. But I think John is right that if you do that and you don't make it, you're giving up 2 for sure, maybe 3.
And actually, even if we do wreck the guard, it's tough for 3 because he's side by side with us. Like, it's not as easy as you think it is for 3 because.
And with this, even if you don't make this one perfect, you still might get rid of one of the lemons here. A limonada. So final stone, John Shuster. Short angle run back, trying to kill one of the yellows.
Girl!
Colin Huffman trying to bring this over. Wow, what a shot from John Shuster. Phenomenal touch. I wasn't even sure you could get rid of both yellows there. Let's have another look at that. Really good sweep by Colin Huffman to bring this one over, and that is absolutely money from John Shuster. And they now lie 3. How good is that?
It's interesting.
And this is not great for Joel Retornaz because you can see he's playing the draw because at least, again, this is kind of a minimizing damage shot. Like, you can definitely still score 1 with the draw. If you are able to draw to side button, you can still score 1 with it. It's really, well, actually, now that I'm looking at the overhead here, I'm not sure if you can score 1. So I think you can't score 1 without moving it, which is, I think, why Joel came down. I think from the hack, he could see more of this first shot stone than he thought he could. So he's down in the hack, decides he wants to play a little bit more weight, try and move the red off the button to score 1. You could definitely throw the run back here. The problem with throwing the run back is, number 1, it might jam on that situation on the left as you're looking at it. Number 2, if you miss everything, you're giving up a steal of 3. Whereas at least if you miss this, you're probably only giving up 1. So A lot of pressure here for Joel Retornaz with his last in the second end, facing 3. Needs to move the red just out of the forefoot to score. Amos Mozaner on this right away. Coming off of it now. This looks close. This looks close. Sebastiano Armand trying to bring that in. Can they move it far enough now? Can they move it far enough now? Yes, they can. Lovely shot from Joel Retornaz. A great response to John Schuster's touch double. Put one up on the board for Joel Retornaz. We're all tied up.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
it's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Nice shot, Joel.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the game of curling, when things are not exactly going your way, you need a big shot from your skip to turn the momentum, and Team Retornaz getting that from Joel there. After a fantastic make from John Schuster facing 3, that was no walk in the park for Joel Retornaz, but a quiet weight tap, perfect weight. Moves the Schuster stone just far enough, and we'll see if that can turn the fortunes around for his team from Italy. And as for John Schuster, you have to be pretty happy with how this game has gone so far. You steal one in the first end, you put all kinds of pressure on Joel in the second end, and now you've got your first look with the hammer, as that one comes just short of the house for Mattia Giovanella. Very nice shot. And we are going to see John throw the corner guard here. We know that John not afraid to get rocks in play. Loves to look at something complicated on his last, where he can make a potential difficult shot for a big score. That was no more evident than when he won that 2018 Olympic gold medal, scored 5 in that 8th end against Nicolas Sedin.
Line's good. Take a look, guys. Take a look. It's really running.
John Schuster now has the record for most United States championships as a skip, surpassing Pete Fenson last year when he beat Corey Dropkin, 9-time U.S. champion. Not all of those are as a skip, just a mere 7 of them. Matt Hamilton, a 6-time U.S. champion. Chris Plies 5 times. Colin 3 times. So a lot of experience on the squad. And, you know, for someone of my age and maybe some of you watching as well, winning the U.S. curling championships, maybe not always the toughest of feats, but certainly over the last 20 years, there's been no shortage of fantastic U.S. players that have challenged for that crown. My broadcast partner Tyler George being among them. Brady Clark in that mix for a while. Greg Persinger, Todd Burr. And now into this modern day where you have the Schuster-Dropkin rivalry, but you got Danny Casper right below them, Scott Dunham, Jason Smith. Lots of very solid U.S. teams. And really nice freeze there from Matt Hamilton, and a little fist bump for Chris Plies, and an extra butt tap as well for his sweep, holding that one straight. The ice does look a little bit more predictable here this morning. We had seen earlier in the week that, and something we talked to the players about, a lot of them were remarking on it, that you know, once the rock was breaking, it was very difficult to affect it with sweeping. You know, every rock has a break point, and basically once it breaks, it's gone, which is not always the case, of course. but that was how it was the first few days. But these rocks this morning in particular, and we were starting to see a little bit of it yesterday, just a little bit more predictable, that parabola, that arc that these rocks are taking to curl in, just a little bit more uniform, a little easier to predict the break point, and a little bit easier to hold it as a sweeper once it hits that break. So the ice settling in here, we've talked about it a few times. I mean, we had the leak in the roof a couple days ago. Not always easy to make ice in the Atlantic provinces with the climate outside. It can rapidly shift. The humidity is quite high. So it's not always easy to do, but credit to Mark Shirk and his team for a fantastic surface here. And that's really good from Colin Huffman. Gets rid of all 3 Retornaz stones, and we might be heading towards a blank here. There is 1 corner guard up, but that's really good from Colin. Another look at that here. Runs it in, gets both yellows. No mistake.
Kick good. I was like, just roll it. I get to think about everyone. The other one's that's no, no, mezzo. Tina. Tempo shake. Whoa. Tina. Whoa. Joe. Okay. 9-6. You got it, man.
So right on the nose, and we will see John Shuster roll behind this single corner. They were trying to roll that to the wings and just didn't quite get there.
Little soft. Close. Whoa. Curl. Easy. Straight. Whoa.
You'd love just a little roll here if you're Colin Huffman. That is really good. Not quite fully buried. So we are going to see the chase here from Joel Retornaz, but very close. Nice shot there from Colin Huffman. And anyone who's followed U.S. curling, you know, and I've played against these guys obviously a lot over the years, and Colin has just really leveled up his game. You know, was always a good player, was always hanging around on the top teams, but ever since he got the call to join this John Shuster team, he's really leveled up. Fantastic sweeper. Shot making has improved, and he was originally just kind of brought on as the 5th, and he saw that as probably his best opportunity, and it's really worked itself out there where he plays quite a bit more than I think he maybe originally thought when he joined the team, but that's just been how good he is.
Keep curling, God. Keep going.
So the chase was good for Amos Mosaner, and you can tell Chris a little upset with the sweep call miss there as that rolls out of the house, and we'll see what Joel decides to do here. You could draw or you could peel, and they're going to draw, so I like this. This is aggressive. I think you would see quite a few teams just peel that corner guard and say, all right, let's move on to the next end. Who cares? But without the hammer, sometimes a corner guard can be a little scary. The key for Amos here is just he can't be deep. Don't want to give Chris Plies anything to freeze on. We saw him make that fantastic freeze last end. And unfortunately for Amos, that does slide deep. And so that's unfortunate. Your skip trusts you in that situation if you're going around that corner to recognize the pro side and, if anything, be in the top of the house there. This now opens up a potential 2 for John Shuster.
Close for line. Yep, straight, yes! Hard! Hard! Gotta go! Whoa! Curl, Matty. I'll leave it there.
And a little heavy from Chris Plies as well. And unfortunately, not heavy enough to push that yellow out of the house. So now for Retornaz, he can chase this and lie two, and the force is potentially on.
Like a third of the way down the sheet. Yeah. We're gonna watch it just fucking roll out by a mile. Roll out by that much, dog.
12.
Chris venting his frustration about that missed sweep call on his first.
I thought we were pretty close, but ended up hitting with a 9 and not a 9.5, and I'm not sure. I didn't process that they said it was up. So that's why I was asking. They said it was up or not. So I think if we hit it in the spot with 9.5, it stays, which I'm kind of erring a little bit on overroll, because if they go draw there, I think we invite them.
Wasn't the call hit on the nose?
No, it was hit nose to roll a little bit.
Clean.
But yes, no, we definitely, like, we're never going to roll out the other way by car.
So the dig here for Joel Retornaz around this corner guard. And no trouble there for Joel.
Tap it through if we wanted to. Try to just get it. If we get it edge on edge, it makes it pretty tough on that.
Ended up not missing that guard by all that much.
Yeah.
They had Amos sweeping for curl, and then all of a sudden went into panic mode.
As long as I throw it here, we can cross it, and if we stay for shot, it's pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
So,
you like center line?
I mean, I had you throw yours ended up being there, and it probably got close to the right spot, and ended up being there for weight. They go. We go center line. I'm good at center line. I'll try to throw you 13.
Center line plus an inch, maybe?
And I'll try to throw you 13. 13. So 13 oh hot dog. It's not.
Se lo lavi nel mezzo e poi da giocare nella doppia.
And we had to carve it. This is. No, I know. I mean, they just threw hack and had a foot less than this, so. 13. Try to throw you like a 90. Yep.
So first down here, John Shuster.
Yep. Gotta go.
Trying to push this yellow out of the house. And get any roll underneath the guard you can. Won't get any roll, but they do move the yellow out and lie shot. It's just going to be that yellow stone at the back of the house that causes John Shuster some problems. If Joel can clear this one, it'll be a force.
Yeah, I had 13. Softer than yours. Yeah.
Tino,
got more weight though, looks like.
Nothing yet really from Armand and Mozaner. Now Amos is going to try to bring this over. You don't want to jam here. And that's a good finish on that stone from Amos. And so it'll be a draw to the forefoot here, 4-1 for John Shuster.
That's fine.
Yeah. I guess we did throw, yeah, just middle here's fine. Yep. Better on this side. That rock's not really in the way, so.
This is one of those ends, I think, if you're John Shuster, you'll feel a little unhappy that you got forced. It was never really looking much like a scenario where you're in any trouble or any danger, but just that rollout on Chris Plies is allowed for Joel to kind of set up this little backdoor force around a corner.
Pretty big bump.
Still got to make the shot for force here.
Yep. Sweep it. It's not heavy.
Lines, all you.
Just need a piece of the forefoot.
Oh, Jesus.
And that's very cool from John Shuster right into the forefoot.
Early as needed. It was just starting to curl. So
Joel Retornaz will have the hammer back right after this.
When you've conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call, we're your place. Come as you are and fit in comfortably. Mr. Mike's. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
Se gana the stage, throwing good rocks and jack shit out of it.
You threw that more weight than it, like, let me know. But we were trying to roll that even under necessarily, so that's where he was kind of upset about it.
So they're still talking here, John Shuster and Chris Plies. You can hear both ends of that conversation. Chris complaining about John and to Matt in the hack, and John complaining about Chris to the coach. Love those team dynamics.
For a second, Colin.
That's specifically the reason why some players say that they like playing third, because you get a chance to talk trash about everybody and talk trash about the skip when you're down with the front end, and you can talk trash about the front end when you're down with the skip. Well, that's part of what has made this team so good over the years, is that honesty. A lot of teams will tell you they prefer that than any sort of bottling up of feelings, and John's certainly not afraid to talk things through with his team. Neither is Chris, and I kind of like doing it right at the start of the end. You just get one last sort of, okay, you know, kind of sucks we got forced last end, but we'll park it, and we're in the fourth now. And quite frankly, they have been outplaying Joel Retornaz thus far. Joel Retornaz, the world number 2. John Shuster, the world number 12.
Furthest out we've been, though.
So,
keep it heavy, clean.
If you're the Americans, you're going to be pretty happy with how the first 3 ends have gone overall. And Matt Hamilton having himself a game here. I think he's got to be in that 100% range. Really nice draw around there.
Linea buona. È male, 4-5, lascialo andarci. Linea buona. Linea. Oh. Linea buona. Linea buona. Linea perfetta, sola intanto. Giù.
This is pretty much exactly the same setup that we saw in the second end.
Lost? Is like that at all? You guys like that?
I liked freeze. I thought freeze.
I'm okay with this too.
No.
What are you thinking, Chris?
I thought my gut was freeze too.
Okay. Yeah, it's a foot higher than T. I had 14.7 on theirs.
Yeah, speed's perfect.
So the freeze called. I think that's the best option as well. Probably like that as opposed to drawing around the center again. You might set up a double. I don't think clicking any of the guards helps you either. So this is just a chance to try to choke off this corner for Joel, but this looks heavy. It's not great from Colin Huffman, unfortunately. Clicks off that one into the open.
Not the end of the world.
No, John's right. It's not the end of the world, but it definitely favors Joel.
Ok, 3/4.
Not the result that Team Retornaz were looking for on that one.
Probably the same thing.
Trying to get rid of at least 2 of the Reds and don't get rid of either of them. So it's still John Shuster flying 2 without the hammer and throwing here. Again, it's just that lack of precision here from the Italians. Normally so good. And again, it's not like they're missing by a mile. It's just they're just so close, and the slams these days demand so much precision, so much accuracy, and when you're just a little bit off, it can really cost you. Matt Hamilton trying to dig in on this. They're looking for the freeze again. I think the weight's there. They just got to get by the corner guard. Wow, they do. Great sweep from Matt Hamilton, and right on the corner for Colin Huffman. John Shuster lies 3. Actually hadn't been a great start to the year for John Shuster. They didn't qualify in their first 2 events, but then they made the finals at the ATB Financial in Okotoks. And that was a pretty good field. They lost that final to McEwen, but you had Brad Jacobs in that field, Michael Brunner, Kevin Cooey, a couple of the Japanese teams, Corey Dropkin. So it was quite an impressive field, and John had a great run there to the final. And that's really good from Sebastiano Armand. Gets rid of 2 of the Reds and sits right in front of John Shuster Stone. I think John Shuster is still shot, but if you're Shuster, you don't love that.
Go flying, but freeze is fine. I guess we got to pick one, right?
That's all we have.
I think nose tap is the best result with here.
Now this is edging into the danger zone here for John Shuster and Chris Plies. If you were to ever click off of this into the open, you could be in huge trouble.
Close.
This shot really needs to get to the nose of that yellow and tap it back.
Close.
Or at least as close to the nose as you can get.
That'll win. That works. I know.
Pretty good, I think.
Get chickened out on it. It's fine.
Yeah, I think they would have liked to get maybe just a little more inside there. You heard John say he chickened out on it. So for Amos, if you could ever just kind of shade this red, just kind of poke it past the top of these yellows and roll into the open, be pretty good. You don't want to hit too much of this red. Yeah, just unfortunately got a little bit more of it than they would have liked. They do hang around for
I think we're line 2.
4th shot at the back, but yeah, just not a great result.
I don't think we go anywhere over here, unless you're going to hit that, but
like here so that they can't.
I mean, their next move's probably here, right? So probably back here.
That might be a shot for us.
I think that's what I'm saying. Like right
You
there.
guys like that? I think it's just here.
Yeah, it's either that or yeah.
Didn't they just make the free? I think it's it. We played it a bunch too.
Because I think they'll just ignore the one in the 4.
I think pro side's probably a little short.
So they're just discussing if they wanted to tap this yellow out the back. But they figured if they did that, then Joel just freezes. So they're going to beat them to that and just try to freeze on the this little red-yellow lineup here. Trying to hold this straight. This is over curling. Not bad though. They do tap that to an even better frozen position. The only thing there is you can see Joel now with where Plies' shot stone rolled. It does give them a little bit of a pocket for a freeze here themselves. Again, another crucial shot here for Amos if Joel wants to try to set up a deuce here.
La linea è buona. C'è un mini bounce sta, ti dai. Un po' secca. Giù. Un po' secca. Ti dai in 8.
Just over curls on them. I know the weight was a little more than they wanted, but I'm still surprised they didn't try to sweep that to get onto the face of that red.
I don't think we can get there.
They just kind of let it click off. And
I think if we get to the dead nose, it makes his life a little tricky.
it certainly was not the desired result. You can see there it's fully visible from the hat.
You got it all. All right. I was thinking 9.5. He said plus something, but 9.5 is good.
So this will allow John Shuster to just throw normal at this. You lose both of those yellows. Maybe like a down normal 9.5. Kills both of these yellows, and if you do that, you lie 4 probably. So again, just a little surprised that they kind of let that one click off.
Yeah, it touches our red, it clips their other one out and goes out. So.
Because this is one of the worst spots that this could have rolled to.
Clean. Curl.
Curl. Curl.
Gotta go, Colin.
Right to it. Right
Gotta
to
go,
it.
Colin.
Right to it.
Not bad, but not great. They wanted to hit more of the nose of this one just because of exactly the shot that Mattia indicated there, that Joel can now make a hit and roll right into that pocket of reds. If that curls just a little bit more, then the red stays closer to the 2 reds behind the corner, and it makes this shot not there. Looks like they're maybe discussing some other options. I kind of thought the hit and roll over is pretty good, yeah. Just what Mattia indicated there.
Esatto, quasi meglio, secondo me. No, invece devi avere l'altezza. Se ti la fai a buttare fuori questa, qua, comunque chi? Non so. No shot qua,
I don't think so either.
No, gioco pill.
I think it's gotta go like top side of that one and
comunque arrivano lì. No, l'alternativa è andare alla corner col freeze di nuovo.
So they were looking at some different options. They were looking at maybe running in the corner guard. But I think ultimately this was the best option. I think you try to hit this and roll over towards those reds, and maybe you get lucky and you kind of poke one of the reds out of the way and get a quasi-freeze. But unfortunately, Joel gets well inside on that one. And again, it just has not been there for Joel Retornaz. It's maybe the worst that we have seen them play.
Dead nose is great, right?
That just was not even close for Joel, unfortunately.
So if we dead jam, we're still going to be lying too, so we should be fine still.
Poi non le butto su un cazzo.
Yeah, I'm going to throw
lo
nine.
stesso.
Do you think one more inch, Chris? This is the straighter of the two when you get outside of the center one. Yeah, no, it should be good.
So this is pretty simple for John Shuster now.
Yep.
Any result where you hit this yellow stone is pretty good. Just don't want to straight jam it on that back yellow. That's really the only thing you can't do, and he does not. So it'll be Joel Retornaz hitting against 4. And these even ends have not been super kind to the Italians here. Joel making that really delicate tap in 2 against 3. This one's a little easier than that, but still the pressure is on. And he doesn't have a ton of room to roll on the outside of the stone. Nose hit will do it. A little roll inside will do it. Just can't be wide on this one. So final stone for Joel. Trying to head into the 4th end break tied.
Clean.
And no mistake, right on the nose. So it will be 1 for Retornaz. The game will be tied 2-2. We're going to take a 3-minute break. We'll see you back here in a minute.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
it's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
When you've conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call, we're your place. Come as you are and fit in comfortably. Mr. Mike's. Eat locally, enjoy casual.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable. And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms? Light as a feather.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And is the choice of champions.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
and when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
it's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Hello, curling fans, and welcome back inside the Bell Alliance Center here in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island for the HearingLife Tour Challenge Tier 1 event. John Cullen, pleased to be with you all by my lonesome here this morning. Bringing you this C semi-final game between Joel Retornaz and John Shuster. And fair to say, even though the game is tied 2-2, John Shuster has had the run of play thus far, been the better team. But we did see this yesterday, that Retornaz not having their best game against Team White, but still just kind of managing to hang around and keep it close. So we'll see if they can find that second gear here this morning to get themselves back in it. Of course, we have all the games here for you streaming on Home Team Live. In the other men's C semi that's out here, it's Cameron Bryce playing against Brad Gujou. Brad Gujou scoring 2 in the first end, Bryce getting 1 in the second, and then stealing 1 in the third. So that game is also tied 2-2 there in the fourth. And Cameron Bryce is set up pretty good at the moment. We'll keep you posted on that. It's the fourth end break between Satsuki Fujisawa and Chelsea Carey. Fujisawa leading that one 2-1. And over on sheet A, perhaps surprising to see Silvana Tirinzoni in the C event, but here she is on a Friday morning playing against Scotland's Rebecca Morrison. That game is tied 2-2. Tirinzoni has the hammer, and they are playing 5. All those games available for you on Home Team Live. We also do have the full house option available if you want to watch all 4 of them at the same time. And you see Mattia Giovanella getting a little bit frustrated, just a little heavy there, chipping the Matt Hamilton stone into the forefoot and separating the 2 of them. Going to have a lot of do or die games here on the stream today. Coming to you at noon Atlantic, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Will be Isabella Rana against Caitlin Laws. That's a B final. And then at 4 p.m. we'll have Yannick Schwaller and Matt Dunstone. That's also a B final. And the night game tonight yet to be determined. Have to see how the draw shakes out here on Moving Day Friday. So the open hit made for Matt Hamilton and an early lie of 2 for John Shuster. That's very nice there from Sebastiano Armand.
Just take a swing at it. Yeah.
What's that? Just try to make this? It's fine. It's just not a terrible opportunity with back line to do that either, though.
And they're just.
I know it's a little bit. Maybe we need to do that. All right, fine. Fine. Yeah, you threw this to it.
You're trying to hit it to the
Inch high.
inside. Yeah.
So the roll was so good from Sebastiano there that we're going to see a run back try from Colin Huffman.
Like 3/4, yes? It's only an inch high.
Yeah, I think it's like an inch high.
Trying to clip it this side.
Trying to go to the inside, yeah.
That's really good from Colin Huffman. Picks the yellow off the top. Does roll to a center guard here, though, so the hit and roll available for Sebastiano. Brad Gujou making a nice shot on his last to score 1, so he leads his game against Scotland's Cameron Bryce 3-2. Bryce will have the hammer in the 5th once that one resumes. We don't often see the world number 2 for the women and the world number 3 for the men in the C side of the draw, but that's where we find ourselves this morning. And that's not the right side of the rock there. Sorry, number 4 in the world now is Brad Gujou. Yannick Schwaller has had quite the start to the season. They're number 1 year to date on the season and have found themselves in 3rd place.
Split the rings or come around.
Because it's our guard, I think we split rings.
So really unfortunate miss there for Sebastiano Armand, and we heard them say they're going to split the rings. They're not too worried about Joel going around that center guard, because if he does, you could run it back and lie 3.
Heads down and go then. Always straight.
Hamilton implies thinking this one is a little light. You cannot afford to be short of the rings here. John Shuster coming in to help out. That's when you know it gets serious, when you see John Shuster out there sweeping. But that didn't end up being too bad. Colin Huffman drawing that one pretty close to the tee line. Saw the rare third and skip sweep there. Chris Ply staying on the inside of the stone. John Shuster running out to help out. And just on the nose for Amos Mosaner.
What? Yeah. 9-5.
So Schuster was correct as well that Retornaz probably wouldn't risk going around the center. He might at some point. You may see if this kind of keeps up. At some point he ignores the 2 red stones in the rings and goes around the center and dares John to make that run back, but you don't want to risk giving up 3 here either. As Chris Plies makes the open hit. For all of his success, John Shuster has never won a slam. He's actually only made the semifinals once in his entire slam career. He's played in a number of slams. And not really a big role there from Amos. He's qualified a fair number of times, made the playoffs, but often loses in the quarterfinal. And the only semifinal to his name is the 2015 Tour Challenge. So perhaps some good feelings for John at these Tour Challenge events. Trying to get behind that center now and doesn't quite roll far enough. So I think we probably will see Joel try to roll behind the center guard now. Certainly less risk involved rolling behind the center as opposed to drawing around the center. Looks like they're going to hit the one in the back 8 and roll in.
For sure you can. From the hack, it looks like you got like pretty much missing the edge.
So for Joel, you probably want to try to roll far enough that John doesn't have that short little run back they were talking about there, but I don't know, they're changing their mind here. Maybe once Joel saw how much of that red you could see from the hack, he kind of realized there wasn't really a spot to roll to where John couldn't make the run back. I think he was thinking originally that if they kind of rolled far enough, John may not be able to get to the nose of this red one and therefore wouldn't have the run back. But once he saw that from the hacks, maybe changing his mind here. Now talking about maybe rolling away from the guard altogether. You do that, you're basically conceding 2. Let's see what they say here. So yeah, it looks like they're just going to hit this red one and roll to the wings. Essentially conceding 2 here.
Yesterday in the hall, like, he's just looking for conversation from anybody that'll have with him. If he makes this roll and happens to get shot, we play the run soft? I think so. Too. By soft, I mean 9-5. Yeah.
Gino. Oh. Yes. Up. Oh. Clean. Lama. Oh. Whoa, whoa.
Okay, so they are trying to play the roll behind the center guard. At some point, it looked like they indicated, okay, no, they were just trying to play right on the nose. Maybe a hair roll away. They did have ammo sweep it at the end there. I thought that's what I saw. Obviously, when you don't speak Italian, it's tough to read the calls. But
right, would you rather have him play that draw and have to squeak by here? And, like, what do we want him to play is the question.
I mean, is he going to play the draw or is he going to play the hit and roll?
Well, he's going to play the, he might play the draw if we roll under there.
Yeah.
But he's going to hit and roll if we hit something else. Yeah. I'm okay with those anyways. So, 9-5.
Okay.
Just inches off. What? No, I mean, if it happens to roll dead buried, it's not the end of the world. I understand. I'm just saying, if it happens to roll dead buried, like, he's got a choice to make. And he's going to have to make a really good one and still not be 9-5, same thing.
Se rimase da francese probabilmente ok. Chase vado a arrivare però proprio clean. Sì, ma poi deve venire la doppia perché magari la doppia la sbaglia Shankar
Clean, curl.
Curl!
have to make sure this sticks. And it will. So you heard that, you heard John and Plies say that they weren't super concerned that Joel would try the draw around. And even if he did, you know, I'm talking about the runner, but if Joel's not fairly high in the house, like if you were to draw and was on the button, you probably don't even need to play the run back. You might be able to play quiet wait and chase it. Obviously, the draw never even entering Joel's mind, and it looks like they're trying to line up the crosshouse double here. You heard John say to Chris there, doesn't mind if they blank. Keep the hammer into the even sixth. This is one of those situations where probably John had in the back of his mind that blank would be ideal for him, but once the two sort of presented itself with the Sebastiano Armand miss, they said, well, you know, we'll take 2 too. That's fine. I'm not going to not take that. So we'll see if Joel can make this. This is a long double. And that's really good from Joel Retornaz all the way across the house and out. And so John Shuster will get the blank. Or, well, he'll have a chance for the blank, I should say. Final stone, John Shuster. Colin Huffman trying to hold this.
Right to it, it's good.
And he will. So the blank made for John Shuster. He will keep the hammer into the sixth.
When you've conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call, we're your place. Come as you are and fit in comfortably. Mr. Mike's. Eat locally, enjoy casual.
Kind of like throwing like a little less weight after throwing 4 down that track. Yeah.
Linea buona.
Maybe got a little less help than I wanted to.
So it was yet another end where John Shuster was in control, looking like a potential 2 the entire time. Joel Retornaz making a nice saving cross-house double. For the game's first blank, and we know how important the hammer is in the 6th end. Seemed like John Shuster was all too happy to get the blank there.
Heavy clean. Right here, boys. Right here.
We talked about John Shuster not having won a slam yet. Joel Retornaz, of course, winning 4, becoming the first Italian team to ever win at the 2022 Masters, and then follow that up with a trifecta at the 23 Tour Challenge, National, and Masters. And impressively beating different teams in all those finals as well. Mowat in the Masters, Botcher in the Tour Challenge, Edin in the 23 National, and White in the 23 Masters. So double centers up, and I think we'll see a little bit more action this end than we have been seeing from both these teams. For Joel, a steal here would really turn the game on its head. For John Shuster, they would love to score a deuce here.
Got there right now. Easy then.
5.
Line's good.
5-6.
Curl if anything, but line's getting really good.
Weight's good. Weight's still good.
Everything. Gotta go. Everything. Barza goes here. Barza goes even out the other side of you, probably okay.
So good line for Matt Hamilton, but maybe not quite the depth they were looking for. As that just settles in the top 12, and Sebastiano will be able to draw around everything here. A lot of changes underway at the Grand Slam of Curling. Obviously, we know that every draw now streamed, every game on Home Team Live, but that's not all. You may have seen the launch of the brand new clothing line of the Grand Slam of Curling at the Rock Shop. If you're here in Charlottetown, you can come visit the physical location right inside the Bell Alliance Center. And if you're watching from home, therockshop.net. Lots of very cool clothes, cups, hats, toques, Taylor Swift-inspired friendship bracelets with curling positions on them. I mean, we've got it all. I've been decked out in GSOC clothes all week. Very comfortable, very stylish, very mindful, very demure. Therockshop.net. And the Grand Slam of Curling also has a brand new app, as we're going to see Colin Huffman get rid of this top stone. If you haven't downloaded that yet, do not have Android capability yet, but it's coming, and that's a really nice double peel from Colin Huffman. He's been on point with that big weight today. But the app is launched on Apple, and we know curling fans are dedicated. Already went up to one of the most downloaded apps in the App Store. Has all the scores. It'll have a direct link to the streams. All the news articles. Jonathan Brazeau, our staff writer here on site, writing a bunch of great pieces. All the news, highlights, everything you could want on the Grand Slam of Curling app. Check it out on iOS, the App Store, today. So guard back up for Sebastiano Armand.
Probably the same thing. I know it's our rock, but
For sure this, though.
Is it ever double peel or no?
I mean, the only problem with that is now if we don't make contact. I'm down with it, though. It's probably the best to open up that draw path, too, though. I'm down.
Half a rock?
No, it's a little thicker, 2/3.
So they're going to try to get rid of both of these guards. This red guard is a little tighter to center than they would have liked. It's guarding their draw path to the button. And then unfortunately that Matt Hamilton stone is almost acting as a de facto guard in the house.
Find out. Sorry,
Well, that's one way to do it. Colin Huffman putting up the hand, so is John, as that ended up being a pretty decent result for them. We see on the replay here, missing the double peel, but getting that Yellowstone off the button. Still a pretty good situation for Joel. I do understand the apology because it's not what they were trying, but I think Joel probably doesn't mind too much, just has Amos come around everything again. Over on sheet A, Silvana Tiranzoni dropping 3 on Rebecca Morrison in the 5th. So the Swiss legends, led by 6-time world champion Alina Petz, up 5-2.
It's never this, is it? I think we can dig it either side if we got a chance at it.
Okay.
So really good draw from Amos Mozaner.
Okay.
If it happens to go skinning by, we can also move that out of there, so.
So the call here is to actually miss the center guard, come around the yellow center guard and chip that red stone off. So you kind of smudge both red stones into the 8-foot, opening up that path to the button a little bit. Do have to get by this top one though. Colin Huffman on this out of the hand. Can they get by the center? They do. Now can they get enough separation? That is really good from Chris Plies. Great touch. Nice sweep from Colin Huffman as well. And that was the thing with that Matt Hamilton rock. It was always a problem. As soon as Mattia made that first draw around into the 4-foot, it was never helping John Shuster. But this way, they don't take it out of the house. Maybe becomes a counter later on.
Make the run.
So just trying to get another one around this center guard here. This looks a little heavy though. That's not a good spot for that one.
Same way you just threw.
Is the double there?
What's that?
Is the double there with like board?
Not this way it is.
Yeah.
I'm good with it. You want to try it with like 10?
I was thinking like board.
Come look. Yeah, we got time.
Yeah, it was definitely a half miss from Amos there. Anytime that happens, you're trying to think of how you can capitalize.
Like if we just throw the same thing. If we make the double, obviously it's spectacular. Yeah. If you're getting 3, like I don't know how they don't give us 3 if that one's like severe. You have to be really close to this to hit that thin enough to get it out of the. Sure. I mean, I think you could probably make it with 10-5.
It's probably there.
I mean, because you're hitting about the same as you hit the last one. So you moved it all the way to there.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, there is plenty of room in there.
If I go by it though,
it's not great because then they just move another one. We have to hit this rock.
Yeah.
And if we clip the guard, I don't think it's great for us either. So that's why my thought was just, since you just threw it and I know it is to like go like this. Okay. But I think the result is almost as good. I mean, the only problem I guess is they're going to be shot. So
are they ever guarding?
What?
Are they ever guarding?
How about we throw board? Throw board and make this. Even if you just tickle it to here.
Like 11?
11, yeah.
So good conversation there. They know that they can obviously make the hit and roll right on top of it. Just a little flop on top of that yellow in the forefoot is good, but they're nervous that if they do that, they'll pull a guard out of Team Retornaz and they may never be able to get at that shot stone. So they're going to try the quiet weight double here. You heard John say, even if you get one of them out and the other one you just kind of tickle over, it's pretty good. Colin Huffman on this. You have to get by the center guard. They do. This is close. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, this does leave Retornaz shot, but it's in the back four. So a little bit dangerous here for the Italians with John Shuster lying 2, 3, and 4.
Throw. Oh, that's quarter inch. Yeah.
Prima, 13-9 la seconda.
Oh, yeah. Did it touch it? Yeah, yeah. That's why it spun back up. Half inch is nutted out here. Quarter inch probably kicks it back. Might even get it back to the back 12.
So for Joel Retornaz, need to get this one in a good spot. You want to be second shot. You want to be at least a piece tucked around that high center guard. Just don't want to leave John Shuster any kind of a double here. Really need this one to curl. I think they might have just got it curled enough.
We can get a roll over there probably, where this double jams. Yeah. Right? Yeah. We have to roll, but we also have to stay. I like how yours just ran.
What did that hit at?
What's that?
Do you know what it hit at?
It hit at 11, I think at 11.2. Okay. Let's go edge forefoot, Chris, and I'm going to throw 11.5.
Sì, è già sempre anche per l'LSD.
Go right in front of that sucker.
Non volevo neanche avvertirmi massa perché dopo gara doppia.
So you're going to hit and roll in front of the yellow one in the back four.
You guys all right with that room?
Try to make it difficult for Joel to get two in a good spot. And obviously these reds are stacking up around the rings.
Easy. Curl, curl, curl.
Gotta go, Colin.
Colin Huffman trying to bring this one over. I think this is a little more weight than they wanted. Rolls a little further than they were hoping. John said he was going to throw an 11.5. That was probably closer to an 11. So it just didn't quite catch the curl.
You think Chris too positive?
So for Joel, I think if you get this one pretty much in the same spot, you're going to be happy. And again, flirting with the danger zone here with John Shuster lying 2, 3, 4, 5. This has to be pretty good, or it could be curtains. Nothing yet from Armand and Mosaner. This looks heavy. Do not want to get anywhere close to this back one. Cannot set up a double here. You can't set up a double here. Oh, no.
Just gotta just clip it, right? I think we'll peel because that gives us for margin. So
It's not the easiest double in the world. It did roll off this yellow enough that John Shuster kind of has to hit this in the crotch, go click, click, and through the hole. But yeah, just again from Joel Retornaz, the first rock was perfect. You would think in most scenarios you'd be able to duplicate that, and he ended up throwing almost 6-7 feet more weight. And now for John Shuster, this is a chance for 4. Final stone.
Curl, 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 curl.
And Colin Huffman trying to make this curl right out of the hand. Can they get to the crotch of the stones? Yes, they can. Really nice shot from John Shuster. And that will put 4 on the board. Joel Retornaz's mistake paid for in full. Shuster leads 6-2.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable. And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms? Light as a feather.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
And is the choice of champions.
Ice has been so like placing rocks perfectly, even hitting rocks perfectly is just been. I can't tell you the last time when I got an open hit, I'm sitting here calling 9-5 on.
Yeah, I bet John Shuster likes the ice. You just put 4 up on your opposition, and hey, Joel, you probably like this ice too, hey? It's probably pretty good, I think. Oh, I really like it. How do you like it?
Stop back button, that's fine.
That's not John digging at Joel, obviously. He's just a very friendly guy. One of the best guys out here on tour, but that is always makes me laugh when Skip puts up a big score and says, yeah, you know, you gotta love the ice out here, eh? Really fun stuff. I don't think Joel Retornaz is having too fun of a time. We have had them on stream a couple times now, and I've talked about it from the beginning. It just has not been the sharpest for them. Just that attention to detail that we really have come to expect from this Italian team. They were the world #1 for a large portion of last year. They're only a few points behind Bruce Mount for #1 right now. The world #2, you know, facing off against the world #12 here in John Shuster. It's definitely a game you'd expect them to, if not win, at least be competitive in. And the score being so close was a bit of a mirage. John Shuster definitely has been in control for most of it and fully deserving of the 4-point lead. But again, it really only happens because Joel can't make a shot consecutively.
Into no man's land. Roll it in.
As they try to tick this corner guard, and that will just hit the boards, so it will go back. Good try from Matt Hamilton. He's really only started playing lead the last few years as they brought Colin onto the team. So the ticks, you know, you didn't grow up throwing them like, you know, some other career leads, maybe like Jeff Walker, for example, who's out here right now with Team Gaju. So good try from Matt. I mean, just about an inch away from making it perfectly. But yeah, again, for Joel Retornaz, you know, that was honestly the sixth end, maybe one of their better played ends. They had a chance to force John. I think if Joel duplicates his first draw, it can be very tough for John to score more than one. And just came heavy and heavy, like, by quite a bit. We're talking a 6, maybe even 8 feet difference, because his first one they swept. So just put it in the worst possible spot.
It's very close to in the way.
John Shuster makes him pay, and
Matt just warmed this one up for you.
I think it's
the bags are probably half packed for the team from Chembra. But there is still some curling left to play. 2 corner guards up for Joel.
Go ahead, yep. It's crossing, but that's fine. I'm okay with it here. But fight the 4-foot. 14-5. Fight the 4. All right, go on. It's good. It's fine. It's good.
Draw made there for Colin Huffman. No sense really throwing a guard there for John Shuster with the 4-point lead. We'll see how Joel decides to attack here.
Finally got a late miss.
Going to come around the corner guard. And yeah, you heard Chris say they've actually gotten quite a few misses out of this Retornaz rink, but finally got a late one where it could be aptly punished on the scoreboard. And sometimes, you know, when you're playing well and you know that you're outplaying your opponent, it's just a matter of patience. You just wait for the right time. And when the right time arrived, Shuster was ready to take it.
Like here?
So you can see here that just over curls, unfortunately, around that corner guard. So Colin Huffman should be able to chase this. As you hear a round of applause there for a really nice shot by Cameron Bryce. He was facing 4, had to make a delicate little hit and roll into the button, and did. So Brad Gujou leads that one 4-3. They're playing 7. Gujou with the hammer. And that is the worst case scenario for Colin Huffman.
I had 7-7 on that, just so.
So just maybe John telling him the time because he thought it was a little heavy.
Yeah.
Matt Hamilton trying to bail Colin out there, hoping for normal weight, which is typically around a 9. So John saying it's a 7-7. That's quite firm normal. Some teams would say that 7 is about their peel. Matt trying to be the valiant front-end partner that he is, saying, well, John, I mean, you might have timed a 7-7, but let's be honest, it wasn't a 7-7, which is good teammateship there. Regardless, it's a bad result for John Shuster, as they not only don't get rid of the yellow, but they chip it behind cover.
You got Eddie?
And into shot.
I mean, this obviously is not the end of the world.
Yeah.
We could just peel it too, or we could try to play peel and try to clip the top of that too. I think that's the play.
I mean, that would be really something if you make that.
I think we're just playing off just the peel.
Just make sure this goes away. Quarter rock makes this though.
So peel is priority 1, but if you can hit this thin enough to just excise that redstone that's acting as a quasi-guard, but that hits way more of the corner guard than they were expecting. Luckily for them, rolls into the house, though. And I dare say for John Shuster, this is maybe a little busier than he would have liked this house to be up for. Still not in terrible danger. If you're John Shuster, obviously you don't care about giving up 2 here.
Yeah, it looks like a half.
Just want to avoid giving up any more than that if you can. Right through the hole for Amos. Need this to slow down, though. And it will stop on the paint, but for 6th shot.
Like third is as natural as it comes, right? But skinny half flips it.
I would have loved to have that one be a little bit higher than it is, especially with this double being there. You can see here, and you heard John say it's a pretty natural double. It looks like you hit about a third of a rock here, and it goes pretty easily. And if you make this, you're all of a sudden lying 4. Colin Huffman leaning on it. Do they get enough of the yellow? They don't. That's unfortunate for Chris Plies. That was a really good opportunity to get rid of that yellow shot stone. You see on the replay here, just hit closer to half than a third there, and unfortunately rolls right over top. Does move it back out of the forefoot a little bit, but
I thought maybe you tipped your first one.
it's still shot stone. For Joel, really, you know, you kind of have to score 3 here. And so I think that's part of what this discussion with Amos is going to be about. 2 doesn't really help you here. Most teams on tour will be very pleased to tell you that if they could be up 2 with Hammer coming home, they'd run to it.
Sì, è probabile che qualcosa qua dentro ciappa. Se mette ben questa, che deve avere questa, che fa? Gioca su questa. Se la sbaglia Nati, fino a quella lì.
So hard on
se viene quella lì, esatto, giocano per doppia, è buono. Se viene questo, che sbaglia qualcosa qua alle 3, che viene quella fina lì. E giocarlo e veste il po'? No. No, perché dopo questa mi deve come dispiace questo in realtà. Con 11.
So they don't call Coach Ryan Fry out for a timeout. Again, I think if you only needed 2 here, this is maybe a little bit simpler of a call, but trying to brainstorm the best way to get 3 here.
Because if I play a run, that's a disaster if we don't make contact. Yeah. Although if it's an absolute gimme.
And this is actually a fairly simple shot here. Looks like they're just hitting this outside red one.
You can't put it in a spot. Right. Like, I think I could hit it close enough to hit and stay up here. Yeah.
Whoa!
Gets a little piece of that back one. Will it stick? It does. That's really good from Amos. That was pretty, probably exactly what they were trying. Sometimes this is a way you can sort of backdoor yourself into a pile as you just leave all these little biters hanging around, and neither of those yellows are accessible for John.
I mean, it'd be really unlucky to do this, but even if, say, I happen to run it and it goes through this hole, as long as I don't throw it hard enough to roll out.
Yeah. And these 2 are probably dead.
Right. Yeah. So maybe it is the run. So if I just dead nut the run, like 4's out of play.
Yeah.
I think it is. Okay. I think it's 9-5, and I think we put the broom right here.
Okay. And then chop, John.
Knows, like, I'm throwing 9-5. As long as I stay in the house. Like here?
It's never a great sign when you're saying, well, if we do this, they can't get 4. But such is the state of affairs here with those Retornaz hangers on at the back ring. You heard John say, though, sticking here almost a necessity. You hit this right on the nose, it'd be really good.
Close.
Sounds close. It's not bad. I think it's Shuster sitting 2 here. They would have preferred to have that one curl a little more, but job mostly done there for John Shuster.
Ti scalza perché doveva essere sicuri a sti qua.
It really is just a... But again, we didn't kind of put it into triple possibility. Contact with one of these two back here. Although he might actually roll under. I think there's somebody he might come back. And then it's going to throw it hard enough to make that.
It's tough.
Yeah. Possible. We got to hit it because if we give up 3, we got to figure out one with. Sorry, we tried chiseling Matt's first, second one.
So going to try the double here, I believe. And if you make the double, it might be a natural triple. Just like that, lovely from Joel Retornaz. Makes both of those yellows at the back of the house count. Phenomenal shot. Take a look at this on the replay here. 1, 2, 3. And yeah, I think again, it's just John Shuster not quite getting his first one to the nose, and this was pretty natural. You can see there. I said that. I thought if you made the double on the top, you're probably getting the back one. And unfortunately for John Shuster, might be a crooked number back here for Joel.
3 inches, 4. Yeah.
So you can see there, John can see all of the rock from the hack and then some. So no question he'll be trying to get rid of 2 yellows here if he can. You get rid of 2 yellows and that's pretty much job done. As I said right from the start, you're okay giving up 2 here. You'd prefer not to give up 3. Again, that's not the end of the world, but you'd love to make a double here if you're John Shuster. Final stone, end number 7.
Hard! Hard press! Hard press! Okay. We second at least?
I do think the red is second. Mattia wasn't so sure. He was immediately lining up for the draw for 3, but I think the Shuster stone might be second shot. We're not right above it here with the camera, but we're taking a look at it here, and the applause you hear is because we have our first final out here. Chelsea Carey will be exiting Charlottetown after a 5-1 loss to Satsuki Fujisawa. So Fujisawa will move on to the C finals. That will get them a date with the loser of one of the B finals, I believe. Yeah, they'll get the loser of Tab Peterson and Isabella Rana. And I believe that's the game we will have for you as the feature game later. So anyway, final stone here for Joel Retornaz. Was trying to move this red far enough. Can he do it? Wow. What a touch shot from Joel Retornaz. That was not as easy as he made that look. Let's take another look here. You had to just get by that guard, just move that enough to get it out of the rings. That is delicate from Joel Retornaz. What a shot. So they'll get 3 back. Shuster will be fine being up 1 with Hammer, but probably would have liked to be up by a little more. This is heading for an exciting finish. Don't go anywhere.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
it's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Hello, curling fans. Welcome back to the HearingLife Tour Challenge, a C semifinal between John Shuster and Joel Retornaz. It's not complicated. You lose and you go home. Both teams down to their last life, and Joel Retornaz playing like it there in that 8th end. Makes an unbelievable triple on his first one, and then possibly a better shot on his second one. A touch. Little push takeout out of the rings to score 3. And so he gets almost all 4 points back. John Shuster leads 6-5 with Hammer here in 8th. I was going down the rabbit hole of the women's draw, almost missed the Joel Retornaz shot. You can tell it's the early morning draw here. And I'm on like a 3-hour jet lag, so these 8:30 a.m. games for me are like 5:30 in the morning. But we're hanging on. We're bringing you every game here from the Grand Slams. Home team live, GSOC. So job is simple here for Team Retornaz. Need to steal. Mattia getting both guards up.
Don't mind moving it a foot, but don't get crazy with it. Yeah, that's where I've been giving you. I gave you that.
I like the same kick we're at.
7. Easy. 7-8. You can clean if you need to, but we're out there. Carve it. Get it moving, Chris. Back 8. Keep knifing. Keep knifing. All right, that's fine. Yeah. I got you, man. Okay. Not a terrible place. It's good.
That wasn't exactly what they wanted from Matt Hamilton. Splitting off those reds. One of them being behind the tee line will allow for Sebastiano Armand to perhaps move the other one behind the tee line, start to create a bit of a wall here. That round of applause you heard was for a 2 score for Brad Guju. He now leads 6-3 over Cameron Bryce in their C semifinal. And Silvana Tiranzoni has been in firm control of her C semi against Rebecca Morrison. They're leading 6-2, playing 7. Morrison with the hammer there. So just a little push here for Sebastiano. Try to create a pocket of American Reds. Sounds like a cigarette brand. That's very good. Exactly what they called. And
just one, let's be sure.
Again, for John Shuster, this isn't an ideal setup here with hammer. And being up 1, you got both your rocks behind the tee line and 2 guards up for the Italians. You heard John say he doesn't want to risk a double peel and maybe missing it, so just a single peel on the top here for Colin Huffman.
Perfetta questa.
Capo. No, lì ok, lì ok. No, giù. Linea perfetta. Giù. Giù. Ancora, ancora. Ok, ok, ok.
And the guard replaced by Sebastiano Armand, and I think guard removed is the call here for Colin Huffman. No mistake there, and we'll see what the Italian plan is here. Will they throw up another center? It does appear that they will. Neither team in real-time crisis here. Joel Retornaz has just under 3 minutes left. John Shuster just over 4 minutes, and they both have both of their timeouts still, so not really of concern for either rink. And guard back up.
Seems tempting.
And just the single peel call. You heard Chris Plies say it seems tempting to maybe try the double, but again, if you ever just miss the double and you leave your red up, that's when you really start to get into steal danger. And I know both the Red Rocks are behind the tee line, but you are still lying 2 if you're John Shuster. So at some point, Joel Retornaz is going to have to make a move into the house.
Timeout.
And so now the first timeout of the game called for Team Retornaz, and Coach Ryan Fry will come out and have a discussion about how to attack this here.
Like, if we are here, I'm thinking. Idea is either we play the double now.
Ever taken a swing at it?
What's that?
What?
Try and make a movie come around. Oh, 100%. The problem is right now, like, they can go big shot double, half buried, and it's really tough.
Tiro de preparazione.
At any point. So even if they throw the guard and positive double, the deal is the same as the right shot anyway. I mean, I just have to make contact in my first one, and I think I should have something fairly similar. Really win against the time.
Se ti faccio il double,
e prova la tripla. Se fa la tripla, game over. Okay, la guardia, we know the guard. Next shot? Like we on next shot or after this time?
You have 20 seconds left, you're good.
Cos'è che vince mano?
They throw the guard whenever throwing it.
So I think the discussion was about several options. They were talking about making the double. Those redstones are lined up pretty naturally to make it. And you might even be a piece buried if you do that. They also talked about just drawing in there, but it looks like they're just going to delay the end at least one more stone. Knowing that you have that double there, I think has the Italians feeling confident that they could take that on at any time and force John into a potentially difficult shot.
Oh, aspetta, linea, aspetta. Buona uno. Linea sarà buona, linea buona. Linea buona.
Uno più. Doc l'era prima, Doc l'era prima.
Linea buona.
Doc l'era prima. Gira. Gira.
Oh, oh.
Brave.
And the guard back up.
Timeout for us here, too.
So John Shuster will take a timeout. You heard John and Chris talking about, do we just draw in here and try to beat the Italians to the middle?
Swinging, you can get really, really unlucky if you just miss one of these, right? So you can pick our own and stuff it in, right? Like if we try to take a swing at this, we could just barely stuff it. You can't stuff on that one. What's that? Just stick on it, right? What are you thinking? We were talking about drawing, right? Like,
margine le fonte, perché pensavo se valeva la pena preparare qualcosa per avere un tiro che ne desse le buche sulle fonti.
This one's sticking. I have to stick it
Il
on one.
ponte.
Okay, so
double peel?
what's that? I don't know. You got any thoughts? Depends on a lot of things.
Could be off that one. If you put it in as soon as they got to stay higher. Then we take a crack at this.
Yeah.
And then it depends what happens after that. No, they just give it
Well, no, but he's guarding his point against the tie, so we are up one, and I don't know if that changes anything. So I don't know. What's your gut saying, Chris? I'm just saying we could also just draw and half buried under it as one of the top.
My gut is saying either take a swing at this double peel or play board and try and just peel the.
Because that's the other thing, we could play board and try to peel the middle one or the one in the house. Right, with board. Yep. And if you're talking the one in the house, yeah, this one. I think that's probably. There definitely is merit to it because I can get to that one.
That might be the shot. That might be
If we throw board at it, I think it is a little overburied this side, but this is the one I think I know better.
That was one of the other shot. I think it's either double peel or this one. If we go by it.
If we go by, it is though, because if we go by it by nothing, we're jamming here, and it's awful. Let's just peel it down. You fine with that? I know.
Just enough to be shot.
So usually if you throw a guard and your opponent peels it, then you made the right call.
It's a game winner, because you probably roll far enough where that's open.
So they were discussing a few different options. They were talking about playing maybe board weight to pick the guard off of the HearingLife sign. They were also talking about if you miss that one, you could also get the yellow one in the house out of the way. You could do just the single peel and delay the end one more stone, but it looks like they are trying for the double peel here. As you heard them say, there is a lot of inherent risk in this. If you just barely miss that back yellow, you're probably jamming on one of your own in the house and you're leaving a guard there. So this is risky. Just avoiding the worst case scenario is Chris Plies. And we get another timeout here for the Italians. Ryan Fry once again out.
Così non può giocare questo e queste le ven qua. If we're here, like Mattia.
You can hear Joel translating a bit. You may have seen the video last year. Joel fluent in 5 languages.
No. We say if we go here and he goes here, maybe we have a hit.
Italian, Spanish, French, English, and Mandarin.
Draw is the call anyway, right? No, I'll get out. E Cianci ci ha andato a botto qua. Mattia che piace qua.
We don't have a clue what he's going to do.
È anche difficile arrivare preciso perché arriva sempre qua e che tira. Forse qua non è male.
Questo per tiro, infatti era chiaro se non se sbaglia qualcosa. I don't know.
Like Matt's second one, he was like 13-8, and ended up being like back. So probably not. Back 18. Yeah. I think it was as much.
Sì.
Unfortunately, I only speak the one language, so not exactly sure. I saw Mattia gesture to the back 4. I don't know if that's exactly what they're going to do. It's the same line that they've been taking for just the high guard. I can't imagine they're doing that, but I guess we'll see. Again, they will have options on Joel's last if they do just guard this again, but I think the play is that they're coming in the house here. Yeah, they're definitely drawing here, so they want to be shot. Very nice. So I think the goal for going back 4 there was so that you eliminate the potential triple for John Shuster. If you put it in the back 4, then the runner would always jam on one of John's 2 red stones.
I'm just saying I could even take a slash and try to get top side and get top side. That might be it. It might be this, guys. Like here. Yeah. Yep. 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 Yeah, that's fine. But even if I hit that,
what does he do if we do this?
Yeah, if we stay to line.
Then we can come off this one.
Yep. Okay, I'm down. All right. Do we got to kill it? We don't have to, right?
No.
All right. I don't have to. Right here. 13.
You cool with that?
Yep. I think he's right. If we lie 3 here, probably the right choice.
So John did talk about killing all 3 of these yellows.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it any harder than 13.
But they decided to just try to come around everything here and just poke this yellow one out the back. I think they believe they can see enough. Here, John say if they lie 3, they feel like they're in pretty good shape here. This is a big shot, though, for John Shuster.
Whoa. Close. Yep. Whoa. Girl.
Colin Huffman trying to bring this one over. You got to move the yellow out of the forefoot.
That's not bad. Good. All right.
It's not bad. It's not exactly what they wanted. I think they would have loved for that red to stay closer to the forefoot.
Adesso abbiamo più spazio sicuramente. O sconduti.
We're still pretty slick.
The Jackson?
We're still pretty slick. We're pushing too.
Yeah.
Oh, we moved our back a little too big.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's just 12.
John will have options on his last no matter what. With where that ended up. Especially being shot 2 here. They could afford to lose one of their back reds.
I like that, though.
Oh, for sure.
Taking a swing at that run.
It's too deep. There's just not enough good place to hit it. Yeah.
So final stone here for Joel Retornaz. Shuster lying 2 needs to get this into shot to force John to throw his last. They like the line. Wanted in basically the same spot, just top button. Really good there from Joel Retornaz. He lies 1, and so did it go far enough that John Shuster can come off his own and kick it out the side?
This turn at it?
I don't think so.
Is lively enough to get it this way?
I think so.
Okay.
We just need to move it like you know.
Well, we got to move it because the shooter's going to come back and probably has to go out of the forefoot.
I mean, it's going into the side of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so maybe just a little too deep. That did seem to be where Retornaz wanted it, but John Shuster does have the kickoff here.
3/4.
The positive for John Shuster is he's not doing this against a loss. If you miss this shot, it's an extra end. Shuster deciding not to call his last time out, so he's down to 20 seconds. But that's not going to be an issue here. Oh.
Time out.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, they probably should have done that 2 minutes ago. Now John fully resetting here.
My back foot went weird back here. It caught something. All right.
This type of thing might affect some skips, but John fairly loose, as you can hear. He takes things pretty easy, so Final stone, John Shuster needs a kick off his own to keep his slam dreams alive. Colin Huffman on this, out of the hand. Can he hold it? Can he hold it? No, he cannot. Catches the yellow too thin, and it's a steal of 1 for Joel Retornaz. And just like that, they've erased the 4-point lead of John Shuster, and we're going to an extra. Don't go anywhere.
When you've conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call, we're your place. Come as you are and fit in comfortably. Mr. Mike's. Eat locally, enjoy casual.
Well, curling fans, we love a little bonus curling, don't we? What a turn of events here. It was not a great first 6 ends for Joel Retornaz. That all being capped off with a 4 in the 6th end for John Shuster. Looked like the game was all but in the bag, but Retornaz with a beautiful 3 in the 7th end, making a triple, and then a delicate push on his last, and then makes that perfect draw with his last in 8. Maybe not exactly perfect, maybe about a half a foot deeper than they would have liked. John Shuster did have an out, but unfortunately couldn't find it. And so it's a steal of 1 for Joel Retornaz, and we'll see if John Shuster can pull this one out of the flames, or if this will be a loss that he will think about for the next few nights. We are the only game left out here. Brad Gujou 6-3 winners over Team Cameron Bryce, and Team Morrison and Tirinzoni. That game over as well. 6-3 winners were Silvana Tirinzoni. So Chelsea Carey, Rebecca Morrison, we will bid them adieu from the Tour Challenge. Same with Cameron Bryce. And one of these two teams will be going home as well. We will be back also in about 1 hour's time at noon local time. That's 11 Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, with an all-Canadian tilt, an all-Manitoba tilt. Caitlin Laws versus Carrie Anderson in the B final.
Line's great. Mikey curl. That's right. Go. It's less. Yeah.
But for now, it's 9th end time. And 2 pretty good shots there from Matt Hamilton. 2 guards up for Joel Retornaz. So a freeze here for Sebastiano Armand. Little tap. That's very nice. I said freeze from my mouth, even though my brain was thinking tap. Which is how you end up with freeze little tap. just missing getting the yellow and red in the house there going too, but a nice double peel from Colin Huffman. Take a look here. This didn't miss by much. You could see Colin's reaction there. Still a nice shot, but yeah, would have loved to get those two staggered stones in the house moving. So guard back up here for Team Retornaz, Sebastiano Armand. And very nice.
Just this one.
So just single peel here for Colin Huffman, slightly easier than his last.
Yep. Right to it. Oh.
And no trouble there for Colin. And I guess we will see the guard go back up here for Amos. It's been great seeing all the fans out here in Charlottetown. Certainly Brad Gujou, the most popular curler out here, always stopping to sign autographs and take pictures after the game. And that's something that fans will tell you about curling events. Curlers are the best kind, as they would say out here on the East Coast. Always happy to take pictures and sign autographs, and fans love it, curlers love it. It's one of the special parts of being a curler and a curling fan. So nice guard there from Amos.
Lasciare accesso lì a tutti, secondo me dopo magari
Colin. No, puoi anche andare a giocare in Frisia pian pianello.
And another straight rip here for Chris Plies.
Yep. Whoa, whoa. Good. Go, Chris.
penso di sì.
What's that? Yeah.
And another guard going up for Amos. With John Shuster being shot, at some point Joel Retornaz will have to make a foray into the house. He probably likes that those two stones in the top 8 have a slight stagger on them. You could, with the way this ice is curling, you could draw around and lie shot. So that's probably why he's fine continuing to delay the end here.
Sola. La gira tanto adesso in questa.
So guard up and see if John Shuster does anything other than peel it here. I think he's also just happy letting Joel make the decision as to when they go in the house here. No rush for John.
Yep.
Se noi giochiamo a porta, che sono shot. Sì. Se noi giochiamo qua adesso.
So peel made, and now we'll see. Yeah, this is usually the rock where you see the teams make a foray into the house here.
E lo gli dà qualcosa. Se non è perfetta qui, rischiamo di non avere più niente. La mia idea era che se giocano adesso con la prima qua, e lo che da giocare non sa.
So they will call a timeout here, get Ryan Fry's opinion. The draw is great if you make it. Those two rocks you can see from the overhead, like that red rock is very close to the forefoot. So the draw is not academic. In order to get buried, you might have to be behind the tee line. If you're behind the tee line and John Shuster follows you down, you could be drawing dead on your last. So I can understand why they're discussing some options here. We'll see what Ryan says.
Let him make a play here. Hopefully he doesn't make a double and jam. But otherwise we have the top. Yeah, rolling stacker here. Tapping here.
That's just the hardest shot.
Sì, qua. Non massa da qua. Che danno da... Che giù che lo vedo.
Going out wide, that's the hardest shot. You're guessing on weight a little bit.
And the other thing, too, is if you make the draw, it's a fairly short run back for John as well. Those rocks are slightly staggered, but he could run the red back depending on where you put this, which is why they're maybe talking about throwing the out turn so that you over curl the other way.
Nel galleria quasi ci avrà un po' più di spazio là. Così Mattia?
So you heard Ryan Fry say that he didn't mind this call, but that it was the hardest shot. Just haven't seen a ton of rocks out this wide. But if you make it, this is the easier way. That Yellowstone is a little bit higher, so it's a little easier to bury. And if you over curl around that yellow guard, it might make the short Shuster run back tougher. So a crucial rock here for Joel Retornaz. Got to get it by the top. They do. Now can they get... That's pretty good.
I mean, we could play this and make him make the run and stick. I roll away. He runs it and sticks it. I have to draw 4 foot.
I think it's this.
Right, and then this clips off here. That probably moves. Yeah. We've seen it. You guys have thrown it a couple times. Just make the double. Yeah. Yep. So all right.
Thick half.
Yeah, I mean, that's
so you heard Plies say you do have the option of playing your own red. You could play the red slash. The only issue if you do that is then Joel will have the straight yellow back, and then you're drawing the side forefoot. Maybe even you need a piece of the button to win. Whereas this shot gives you the opportunity to perhaps get rid of everything, or at least both yellows. And if you do that, it's going to be pretty difficult for Joel to get his last rock in a spot that he's going to love. So first stone here, John Shuster.
Yep.
Trying to make the double on these yellows.
Roll it.
And he didn't want to do that. Leaves Retornaz shot stone and has kind of scuppered his own path in there too. So the momentum has been turning in favor of Joel Retornaz for a while, and perhaps none more than now. I think if Joel gets this one kind of top 4, a little bit staggered, it's going to be very difficult for John Shuster to score.
d'accordo. Finisci qua, tiro spedito. Va bene, mi piace il punto. Ma che anche se la spingono penso la T-line. Esatto.
And earlier in the game, I talked about how one of the main issues in this game was just a little bit of a lack of precision for Joel and his team. They're just not having horrible misses, but just not getting their rocks in exactly the right spots. And pretty much since the start of the 7th end, that's all they've been doing. They've been able to get their rocks exactly where they wanted, and you can see that change reflected on the scoreboard. So we're tied. Joel Retornaz without the hammer throwing his final stone and looking to draw this in for a second shot and perhaps overlap the top red a little bit to make John Shuster's life pretty difficult. Don't want to be heavy here. Don't want to set up a double for Shuster. And that was not what Joel would have wanted there.
Timeout. Just for time purposes.
Multiple options for John here. You can hit that one. You can hit the other one and roll in. You could throw the double if you were so inclined. You can draw. Just a hair heavy there for Joel. Didn't catch the curl like his first one. And John Shuster may be able to cling to life here.
It's either that or slash this too.
How much you have of this one?
How much you got of this? More than we need. Does this look pretty makeable? They're like 9.5 though, hey? Like normal? Okay. All right. I like 10, Chris. Okay. I like the broom too. All right, sounds good. I got 2 inches of space on our red, so it's very big.
So John Shuster's going to go through the hole here, and it's not academic, I'll say that, but it's definitely there. Final stone for John Shuster.
Easy.
Close. Close.
A hit for the win.
Whoa. Yep. Whoa. Curl.
Good.
And he does navigate that hole, so it could have been disaster for John Shuster, but capitalizes on a final stone Retornaz mistake, makes a very fine hit through the hole, and in the end it will be Shuster coming out on top 7-6. We'll be back in about 1 hour's time with Caitlin Laws and Carrie Anerson in the B final. You won't want to miss that one. For everyone here at Home Team, I'm John Cullen. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.